Magazine.
Hello once again. I am your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host Jeff Moore, Crystal Cleveland, Daydre, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we're reviewing Mosquito State, streaming on Shudder. Oh boy! Joining me tonight is my co-host Jeff Moore. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
Oh boy, he says. That might be the...
Oh boy.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good to hear. And also joining us this week is the one and only Dave Dreher. How you doing, Dave?
Hey, I brought some off. I got it. Bring the raid.
Yes, that's 1 million trades per second. All right, yes. What we're going to do is we're going to give our first impressions about this movie. That will be spoiler-free. Then we're going to dive into the film. We will jump into spoilers at that time, and then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score of 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. But before we get started, I just want to shout out and say, if you want to help us out, hit the subscribe button down below. That'd be awesome. Share with a friend. That'd be awesome too. It's easy and free to do. And of course, there's the bell and all that nonsense, but most of all, leave your comments down below. We'd love to hear what you think. After all that, let's get to it. What is the card? The card says Mosquito State 2021, playing on Shudder, available streaming beginning August 26, 2021, directed by Philip Jan Rimza. I'm going to say that's right. And written by Philip and Mario Zermino. Why do I do this myself? Cast includes Bo Knapp, Charlotte Vega, Jack Kessie, Olivier Martinez, Audrey Wasilewski, and Daisy Bishop. The synopsis is, in August 27, 2007, isolated in his austere penthouse overlooking Central Park, obsessive Wall Street data analysis Richard Boca sees ominous patterns. His computer models are behaving erratically, as are the swarms of mosquitoes breeding in his apartment, an infestation that attends his psychological meltdown. Oh. All right, now this film did well in Sitges. I feel like
Steges.
But the T's after the I, I don't know how it goes.
I think it's Steges.
And then, of course, Venison won awards at both. I will buy anything for $1 at this point. Let's just get into it. What is our first impression of this wonderful, wonderful film? Dave Dreher, you're up first. Let us have it, sir.
Well, you see, Doc, here's the thing. This movie just sucks. Actually, I can see why it won some awards, all kidding aside. This is a very unique film. But a couple things in it really did impress me. I really thought that the effects, particularly the what's the word you want to use here? the bite effects, I guess.
The prosthetics and stuff like that.
The prosthetics, yeah, I thought were really well done. I mean, they were seamless, especially with the bites on his face. Mm-hmm. The way they were contorting his face and stuff. They looked really good. They really did. And I enjoyed the performance of our lead guy. What was his name? Bo something he said.
Yeah, Bo Knapp.
Bo Knapp, that's it. I actually thought he was real good. He played this character very, very oddly. Very, you could tell he was highly intelligent, yet at the same time incredibly awkward. And I enjoyed watching him work, but the rest of the movie was just a mess. And I don't. Did they ever? Do they ever? Maybe I just missed it. Why is this guy letting all these mosquitoes breed in his house? I mean, what is up with this swarm of mosquitoes that he apparently can kind of control at times? Maybe?
I think it's part of his meltdown psyche. He's at one with the mosquito.
And the burning question that I don't think ever got answered, unless I missed it, was what happened to the kitten? We need to know. We see the kitten run into the infestation. It never comes out. Where did the kitten go? Jeff Moore, where did the kitten go?
Oh, it was there for the girl, I thought, at the end.
That was a different kitty. That was a different one. All right, Jeff Moore, sir. What was your first impression of Mosquito State?
Okay, so I think I'm pretty much with Dave. It was, it looked good. It had some pretty cool effects. The makeup on the lead character, Richard Boca, that you mentioned, Bonap. And he was a pretty strange guy, and he kept that. He stayed in character really well the entire time. So it was fun watching him, and the makeup effects. And I think the CGI was pretty good too in terms of the mosquitoes. But I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's really long, and I guess, let's see, no spoilers. So I'll stop there.
Okay. Really,
It really is a hard one. It's a hard one to talk about.
I don't know, and it's really long. Okay, I love it.
Well, so like I said, it looked good. The sound was good. The acting was good. But it's just a very strange movie, and you're going to have to be into that. I would call that definitely an art house of some time or another.
Yeah, you might as well just throw this right into the artsy fartsy bucket. This is made to be showy and metaphysical and all these things. It's all and I don't know. I just found it incredibly droll and dull and hard to follow. Well, not hard to follow. Well, I mean, kind of hard to follow because hard to stay invested to follow. Not necessarily the story, just to kind of want to keep up with it. It was. I did not enjoy this movie, but there are elements in it that I think are really strong. Like you said, the acting is great, but I just don't I didn't care. I'm sorry, I just didn't care about these characters, so it didn't matter. The visuals were strong. It was definitely a lush film. It's really well lit. There's lots of cool hues throughout this very cold apartment that he lives in. There isn't any warmth in this movie at all. There isn't any vibrancy. It's all kind of very muted and monotone in these blues, but which none of that I enjoyed. However, I did like the musical score. I thought that was the one thing that really stood out to me, is that the music in this movie is really strong, and it when things did lull, it swept you back in, and that's an accomplishment. And I'm not noticing it just because everything else I didn't like. I just think it was very, very, very strong. But in the end, no.
Well, I think a lot of it comes from the fact that we don't understand why he is so attracted to these mosquitoes. I never understood why he was doing it.
Are we spoiling already here?
We're in spoilers, yeah.
So some of this stuff you find out early on, but he had created this computer algorithm based on honeybees in some way that was used to predict the stock market, and they had this company that used it as their kind of foundational algorithm and made tons of money. So I guess it's not surprising if he was obsessed with the life cycle of honeybees that he wouldn't be obsessed with another insect.
I didn't pick up on. I know the project was called Honeybee. I got that, but I did not at any point did I understand that he used it based on honeybees.
I'm pretty sure I heard that.
There was something about years and years and years of stuff that you could predict off of, and all kinds of things. But yeah, and then I think he just transferred from bees over to mosquitoes, right?
Yeah, and then so that's the part I found interesting, because in my past work life, part of some of the stuff I did was create computer simulations or models of systems. And so, and that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to predict what's going to happen when you introduce changes and things like that. So that was interesting to me, the talk about that. And then the idea when somebody started messing with it, that it throws it all off and it's no longer able to predict. That all made sense to me. So, but what he does, you just kind of gotta, I don't know, kind of pick up through osmosis.
Well, if you pay attention,
more and more skeeters are showing up.
Yeah, but if you pay
I wasn't
attention-
I wasn't near as obsessed with the life cycle of the mosquito as the filmmaker apparently was.
Yeah. I was going to say that if you pay attention to all the news thing, it's all talking about, the beginning of the stock market crash as far as
Right.
Real estate, right? It's all that,
Right.
all stuff. And there, I forget.
2007 and 8.
Yeah. So it's basically what he's getting ready to predict is that he just doesn't know it yet. And
they're basically Lehman Brothers, and because doesn't that company go bankrupt?
Yeah, they ended up going under. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's kind of the guy that in the 20s jumps out the window, right? He just does it in this metaphysical, weird mosquito way.
It sounds so odd to say that, doesn't it?
And oh my God, why is it so damn boring? Why did this not captivate me?
A lot of it was him walking around.
Yeah, with
with
that
his
weird
body
gait.
language.
Yeah, weird gait and his face all swollen up
In his tidy whities.
Yeah. But didn't we at one point get like a full frontal shot of him laying there with the mosquitoes like totally nude eating off of him?
I think so, but I don't know.
Yeah, almost sure we did.
I think I was looking at other parts or something.
Okay, good for you.
I did like the one scene where he, and again we're in spoilers here, where all the mosquitoes like stick up onto the window.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that looked really sharp, and he's like talking to them. That's where I kind of got the thing of like, okay, is he like controlling them some way? Or?
Yeah, it's like kind of got Cronenberg's Fly in some way.
Yeah. They had that kind of cloud of them that was spiraling around at one point.
And that looked really cool. I mean, that looked really good, but man, that was like way deep in the movie. And by then, like you're saying, Doc, it was pretty much snooze fest up to that point. So I don't know. I didn't understand it. I guess that's my biggest problem is I just didn't understand what he was trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, because you start off with him going to this party. He's very awkward. You get the idea that he doesn't socialize much at all very quickly. But he hooks up with this female, and they go back and they talk about the wine, and something goes wrong with the wine. The wine's corked. And it kind of spirals things out of, away from his control, and then, or out of his comfort zone, I guess I should say. He's never in control, but and then it kind of focuses on him for the longest time without really anybody else being a big part of the story. Right. And it just like, what, where's the conflict? Where's the urgency? There wasn't any urgency, right? It was just this big, slow, and
it keeps calling people and nobody answers or calls them back, right?
Yeah, I was trying to get a hold of that girl, and but I mean, they resolved that, but at the same time, I'm like, well, that's a little late for that. If there ever was a Jeff Moore film, I would have thought this would be it. But this one, this one is still above, huh? Still too far beyond the bar. Huh?
It wasn't set in 1823.
Well, there wasn't a lot of violence either. I mean,
yeah, there wasn't. Yeah, there really wasn't.
And there was a lot of nonsensical stuff that wasn't explained that you just had to accept. Why didn't he do anything about these big, whatever they were, boils on his face or blisters or whatever they were?
He practically ignored them, right? He basically ignored them.
Right. Everybody else stared at him, but he ignored him. So we don't know why that was. Why he didn't So I don't know. I don't know. I guess
Why,
he was
why wasn't
a.
he itching? You think he'd be itching? I mean, I get one little mosquito bite like on my leg, and I'm itching for 4 days. You know, why isn't this guy like scratching like a motherfucker?
I don't know.
He scratched his neck a few times that first one.
Well,
but
at
apparently-
first, yeah. I don't know. It just, the only person that even really, I mean, a couple people, or acknowledged it, but the only person that seemed to give a poop was the secretary. But it was, but she obviously wasn't very comfortable with him, and he wasn't very nice to her after a while. So it was so hard for me to even care about this guy because he was such a non-entity, and then he became a dick, and then who cared at that point, right? It was just like there was no loss because we didn't know what he had, and just I don't know. For on the emotional level, I wasn't invested.
Yeah,
I had to, at some point, had to sort of, I guess, assume, and maybe this is obvious, but I felt like he was somewhere on the autism spectrum, and was a genius, and that he saw things in a different way.
Oh yeah,
than
he's
everybody else. So
definitely on.
So that's where I was kind of going with the bees to the mosquitoes and his social awkwardness and that stuff. But
yeah, and explains the obsessive behavior too.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you just don't have enough information to care.
Right.
At the same time, but I mean, on the other hand, it's well made. It's very the cinematography is brilliant. Like I said, I thought the music was brilliant, but the story.
It almost seems like it was shoehorned into it as being a horror film. There really isn't much anything horrific about this movie. Really, there really isn't.
It's like a body horror in a way.
Yeah,
I mean,
kinda, I guess.
It's mental body horror, combination. It's like tiptoeing through Cronenberg fields, right? So
that's it. That's the name of our album, Tiptoeing Through Cronenberg Fields. I love it.
There you go. All right.
Well, we needed some. Well, never mind.
Yeah,
I'm not going to tell them what they should have had. So
we needed some fangs on these. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give it our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And of course, Dave, that means, sir,
me.
You are first.
Yeah, I mean, I really did like the lead guy's performance. I thought he was really good. I really did like the prosthetic makeup. I thought it was really good. It's those two things, though, just are not strong enough to allow me to recommend this. I'm afraid. Very convoluted story. I still don't know that I understand. Even sometimes after we talk about things, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I'm still lost on this one. So there are a couple positives. As we say often, if you subscribe to Shudder already, why not watch it? You already paid for it, so you might as well. But I'm going to give this. I'm going to give it a 2. And favorite scene, I already mentioned it. I'm going to go with when for whatever reason, all the mosquitoes, because he's sitting on the bed with like the mosquito net over top of him, and for some reason, simultaneously, all the mosquitoes fly to the window and kind of sit there, and he gives this soliloquy. It's like, it's about time, and I don't know what any of that meant, but it looked really cool. So that's it. That's my 2 cents.
2 cents. All right. I'm not going to invest too much in this. All right. Jeff Moore, you're up next. What was your final thoughts, your score, and favorite scene?
Final thoughts are, I think I kind of know what happened, but I'm sure I'm not getting all of it. I know they're trying to like hit me over the head with metaphors of the mosquito life cycle, but I wasn't getting all of them.
Yeah.
It was long. It was a long watch. I'm sorry. I'd like to be more positive, but it was a tough watch for me. And normally I kind of get into stuff where I'm trying to figure out what's going on, but there just wasn't. It was all observational. There wasn't really any clues or anything. It was just waiting. I liked Bonap as well. also like Charlotte Vega was good too. And there was, you know, the other actors were good as well. I'm debating. I guess I'm going to go 2 as well. To me, the main positive is the lead actor's performance and some of the visuals. Story-wise, it wasn't my cup of tea. So I'm sure there's people out there that will like it. Favorite scene? Oh, Lordy. They say the part where the mosquito grew giant and ate him, but that didn't happen. So.
I know.
The moment we were all waiting for.
Yeah. Or anyway, you know, I'm gonna go with. I don't know what to go with. You know what? I enjoyed watching the close up of the mosquito larva hatching out, or the mosquito hatching out of the whatever. But yeah, I thought that was interesting because I'd never thought about it before. I mean, I think most people know mosquitoes need water to breed, but that was kind of interesting from a scientific point of view.
He likes the nature part. All right, fine. I'm fine. All right. This movie left me with a big void of what the hell was that? To me, I did not like the characters, no matter how well they were acted. I just didn't like any of them. I didn't care. I did not. The stock market, location and all the stuff going around didn't interest me. So I don't get, whatever the metaphors are after, except for the very top level, the obvious. But I'm sure there's a lot of substance in there if you are in the know, right? And I'm just not. And the worst part is the story is that I just, to me, the urgency of whatever was happening, I didn't feel, which did make this for a very long hour and 40 minutes because I'm waiting the entire time for something to happen to get me invested, and that never really happens. So I mean, I'm giving it a 2, but the 2 I'm giving it is based solely on technical, right? Only on the technical aspect of how well this movie is put together. And and a good portion of that is the music. I really love the music in this movie. Which is really odd for me. I usually don't notice it, but really did this time. Yeah, and I feel like I'm being very generous giving it a 2. I feel very bad. My favorite scene, to me, there is really only one scene to be a favorite scene. It was the only thing that was fantastical in the whole thing, where he looked like he was commanding those mosquitoes that Dave took. But if it's not that, I'm going to have to go with the only time anybody showed any real emotion or elevation in their speak or anything was when he was going crazy with those baby monitor, and he's going, "Do you hear it? Do you hear all that buzzing, buzz, buzz, buzz?" And she's like, "I got no idea what you're talking about." And he's like, "It's 10 million transactions a second." And I'm like, "Oh man, this guy." And it was only just because it was just a hint, the only hint that we get of the collapse right inside his head. But woof.
Yeah.
I really hate saying that because me, I'd like to be optimistic, but it is playing on Shudder, and you can certainly check it out. We know everybody listening has a Shudder subscription, so check it out and let us know how wrong we are in the comments down below. I feel like we're going to hear some good ones. Here's some good ones on this, and the punnier the better. I want some puns, baby. All right, there you go. That's our review of Mosquito State. It's playing on Shudder right now. Dave, Jeff, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome. Thanks.
All right, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Do you hear it? Buzz, buzz, buzz.
Good night.